From Kildare down the road a little bit to Laois County Council, to the one thing on the list today that I hadn't a bog's notion what it was going to do. So hopefully I will be a little bit more knowledgeable after we hear from Dermot O'Loughlin to talk about, deep breath, robotic process automation of MyPay superannuation starting process. Dermot!
It's a bit of a mouthful. Can you hear me? You can. Okay, delighted to be here. My name is Dermot O'Loughlin. Delighted to represent MyPay here today and talk to you about a very important automation journey that we have gone through in the last year. And there's definite synergies between the last example in Kildare and also Cork in terms of forms and the hassle that we all have in terms of kind of manual forms. And this is an example of going from manual to digital. And I suppose it's about bringing Mandy to life. Mandy is our first digital worker in MyPay. And you can thank Regina, who's sitting there, for the name. Regina, in fact, delivered the project. So she also, herself and her team, came up with the name. There's a bit of a story around that. So I will continue on to explain a little bit about MyPay. So as you probably all know, we're the shared service for payroll and pensions across the local government sector. And I suppose our remit is to deliver accurate, efficient and compliant payroll and superannuation services, and that goes without saying. But we're fully committed to doing that in a best-in-class way in terms of customer service. We're always trying to be innovative in terms of how we deliver our service, so we're always looking at trying to improve and change and do things in the best possible way. And I suppose that's the story of everyone here today. We're no different, and we're trying to improve as we go along. We have to be transparent in how we do things, and we take great pride in our operations. So our procedures, our work instructions are all standardised, optimise, and we continue to improve and optimise how we do things. So a little bit more in depth around some of the stats around MyPay. So in terms of payroll, we deliver about 1,800 payrolls per year on behalf of the local government sector. So we have 30 local authorities, the LGMA and EMRA, which are the Eastern Midland Regional Assembly, onboarded into MyPay. So the only outstanding local authority are DCC, we've actually held initial meetings with, and we hope to onboard DCC next year. So those numbers will go up from about 54,000 pays to about 67,000 pays once we have DCC onboarded. And we do that to a very high level of accuracy. So we record any errors or mistakes that are made, so we're able to back up those figures. And in Superann-wise, we have 26 local authorities onboarded, also the LGMA and EMRA. We had a pause in terms of the Superann project, but we've onboarded 6 sites last year, another 5 sites were on board. So again, a very busy period for us in terms of those onboardings. So our Superann team are extremely busy. As you know, Superann is a complex area. We're dealing with the LGSS scheme and a newer single pension scheme, and we deliver we administer the single pension scheme on behalf of the sector, so over 16,000 statements per year. And also we have a very busy help desk, so over 35,000 cases go through MyPay each year. And we do all that in underpinned by quality systems, control and assurance framework. We're audited each year by Mazars externally to the ISAE 3402 standard. We have our own internal audit functions, and we also have a set of KPIs and an SLA, which is really a business agreement between ourselves and the local authority. So we have guaranteed turnaround times in terms of how we deal with our cases from both the local authorities and from individual payees or pensioners. So we believe we deliver a very good service in MyPay. So, like yourselves, we're trying to align ourselves and implement the various government strategies around digitalisation, optimisation and improve service delivery. Okay, so lots of strategies, and I suppose the example here today is one of those. implementations, the challenge we had, and it's probably the key area in superannuation, when I would talk to our superannuation people and our managers, it was the one complaint I was always it was around superannuation starters. So anyone who starts in a local authority has to fill out a statutory declaration along with additional information that we require MyPay to keep your records straight, okay? So the volumes, as we've grown, the volumes have increased over time. Those forms are coming in, although we don't have paper in MyPay, they're scanned in the local authorities and sent into our help desk. So it's good that we don't have paper, but we still have scanned forms. So like our colleagues in other areas, this is an issue. And I suppose the volume is a problem for us. So, you know, we at the time of this project kicking off, we had about 2,500 forms. That has grown steadily. And it's a very low efficiency process. So that's an example of the form prior to our implementation of this project. So you'd probably be all familiar with that kind of a form. Most people hand write the form. Some people would type it. They would then give it into their HR department. HR department scan it, send it into ourselves in MyPay. Our people then have to deal with that form. It's the whole process around the form that's kind of slows everything down. It's really complicated. So when the form comes into our help desk, there are various fields that have to be filled in our CRM system. Then we have to validate the form, and as you can see, the data can be a mess, so there can be a to and fro between ourselves, back to the local authority, back to the individual, until we get the information right, so completely inefficient. Once we get the form to the level that we need it, we would have to carry out various checks in the core system, so dates and various fields, and then we would add in the service history, which you can see at the bottom of the form, into the system and close off the form. So quite a convoluted, difficult manual process for our teams to carry out. So I suppose the vision, like other projects here today, was to automate that repetitive, inefficient process. And I suppose the key thing for us was really to, you know, we don't want our people doing that type of work. We want to empower people to work in other areas, to be more innovative, more efficient in terms of how we do our work. So the day of kind of dealing with those kind of manual processes, I think you'll all agree, is kind of needs to come to an end. So this is a step in that direction, and also to align with public sector transformation. So for us, we had to go out and we had to find a solution for this particular dilemma or problem that we had, challenge. And I suppose it became very quickly evident to us that the solution was going to lie in the area of robotics and RPA. So what robotics is really good for, it mimics human keystrokes and interaction with systems. So we couldn't find a solution that would solve this problem under the hood by way of APIs or programming. So we had to come up with a solution that mimics the human activities. So that's why it became evident that RPA was the solution. Now, we worked obviously with our partners in the LGMA, who provide all our technology infrastructure and supports, and Dave and in the PMO as well, around how we could put this in place in terms of funding. And obviously the department were very good in terms of providing digital transformation funding. We couldn't have done it without that. And then we brought in Delight, obviously, and they used software, RPA software called Blue Prism. So when Delight come in, they won't implement it without there being a business case behind it. So they worked with us, they talked through with us the process, the steps, the time taken, and they were able to produce a proposal that showed that initially, given the numbers at the time, we'd have a saving of 1.3 FTE, and that would grow to 2.6. And in actual fact, they were quite conservative. We believe we're at about 3 now, and we'll gain additional efficiencies. And also on the right hand side, you'll see some of the kind of additional benefits you get out of it, like the quality, consistency of the data, because it's repetitive and it's robotics, it's always the same. Efficiency, time the digital worker. Mandy works all hours of the day, nighttime, weekends, so very efficient in that way. Employee satisfaction, so we've been able to remove that kind of not very particularly nice work from our employees in superannuation and put them onto other areas which people like. And then the whole customer satisfaction, so we had to work with the local authorities, staff in HR and in finance to adjust some of this process. So one of the steps we had to take was to move away from that handwritten form and initially go to a fillable Word form. So that was the big work we had to do. All the rest of the process stayed the same. That was the big work we had to do with the local authorities. And what that has given us is a consistent form, and the local authorities know that once it's filled out correctly, it comes in, it's going to be processed automatically, and that's kind of the end of it. So the other kind of good thing about this project was it's really quick. So once you do the initial work with the light and do the proposal, it's a very short plan. Now, while that's good, in a way it was a real challenge to Regina and the team because it was such a short time frame, and in fairness, the light keep you on track. There's no slippage or very little slippage. So the phases of it are process design, so how is it going to work, and then they come and they build out the solution. At the same time, our team are building out our UAT test scripts, and then we get into the UAT phase and into delivery. So it's really short, about 3 months. So in 2025, we would have started this in or around after Christmas, and it was in place by the end of April 2025. So what do we get? Meet Mandy. It's our first digital assistant or digital worker, I suppose. And I suppose what we've gotten in MyPay is that big bundle of files of manual process that we've had to kind of have our team carrying out is now done automatically. And it's done in a consistent, fast, correct way. There's real savings there. So it's been hugely beneficial, successful for us in MyPay. How it works is kind of replicates the old process in a way. So the new starter comes in from the local authority in that new fillable form. Mandy then validates that form. If there's anything wrong with it, it sends it straight back. So none of our people even see it. It's all automatic. What the bot does as well is a lot of the time the form would come into us before the person is actually added to the core system. So when in the old process, our people had to kind of journal it, go back, check was the person added, and that could kind of repeat a number of times. So the bot does that for us now. So again, we're not doing any of that. And then it saves the file to our drive, updates the ticket on our CRM system, and it updates core. So it adds in that service history information into the core system and closes out the case. So does it automatically. And I do have a video which will kind of demonstrate this. It's not the most exciting video, but it will demonstrate the automatic nature of it. Hopefully the video. So just press the green button again. Yeah. No. Okay, so that'll give you an idea of just a couple more slides of the automation. Core, you cannot write the core system any other way than doing that. They won't allow it. There's no APIs. So the only way to do it was using that robotic system. So, and you can see how useful robotics is to go into various different systems, read from systems, update systems in that kind of way that replicates the manual process. So when there's no other option, it's a very good solution. So the results for us have been very beneficial today. So we process over 2,700 forms to date since late April last year. So we're due to be about 3,400 by the end in the calendar year, or by the end of the year up to the April. And when we bring on other sites and Dublin cities, that'll be about 5,500 a year. So practically all of those forms are automated. We've saved, at least 3 FTE. It's very consistent. It happens the same way all the time, so the data is consistent, there's fewer errors, and it's very much strengthened compliance. So one of our checks when we get in one of those forms is we have to ensure that that's coming from an authorised user. And while we have our procedures to do, and our people have to check those things, they are manual and they can get missed, but it can't get missed using the robotics. And then the biggest thing has been the human impact. So for our team, to be freed up from that work so we can move them on to innovation projects or other areas of superannuation. And just to be freed up from doing that kind of monotonous, repetitive type work has really kind of re-energised our staff. So finally, the key takeaways has been our kind of partnership with the LGMA, the PMO, the network services team, the LGMA, to deliver these kind of projects has been instrumental. Getting the process design right, being ready for UAT, that wasn't exactly right for us. We had to circle back and reiterate a few times, and there was a lot of pressure. And then that whole user engagement, which we think we got right with the local authorities. So we produced a video around how that new form would work, how it should come into us, and the fact it would be returned automatically if it didn't work. So for us, the next things that we're working on is further digitalisation. We want to take that fillable form, we want to make it fully online, on an online platform. We want to do further automation and further utilise RPA. So we think there are other inputs, for example, payroll inputs that we could use. And then we've a whole innovation stream piece that we're looking at. So we've just finalised an innovation programme in MyPay through the UCD Innovation Academy, and that is allowing us to come up and address other challenges within MyPay, but they're all interrelated, if you can imagine. And that's it. So, a project has gone well when the people in the team are bringing in cupcakes with the name of the bot on it. So we had a bit of a party after. So look, that's it. Thanks very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.